Okay, today's lesson 40, we're going to graph linear inequalities. So we're going to be graphing lines like we did before, using the y-intercept and the slope, the things that we've learned before. So we reviewed yesterday with Desmos. But we want to think about what inequalities are as well. Inequalities, remember, like we had y is less than 4. Okay. That means y could be any number. Can y be equal to 3? Is 3 less than 4? What about 2? 1? 0? Negative 4? What about positive 4? Is 4 less than 4? No. So that we couldn't use 4, we couldn't use 5, right? So, and we talked about the equal sign less than or equal to. Is 4 less than or equal to 4? Yeah. Yep, for sure. Okay, so we talked about how to graph this on a number line a few weeks ago. If we had 0, this was on your test, remember this? We'd go to 4. Do we fill in the circle? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, why?
Because it has a line under the less than, it's a less than or equal to.
Good, it includes the solution. It's pointing to the left, so we fill it in. Okay, so that's what we're working on today, except we're going to be talking about graphing. It's the similar concepts to that and to what we just learned with lines. Okay, so number 1, graph y is less than or equal to 2/5 x plus 1. Let's see if this will last. Okay, so this is already in slope-intercept form, I'm noticing, so I know that my slope and y-intercept are 1. And I'm going to assume that this is not just less than or equal to, I'm just going to pretend it's an equal sign right now. So I'm just going to do what we did before. What's the y-intercept here, everyone? 1. So we're going to go 1. Plot a point, and then we're rising 2, running 5, plotting a point right there, and we're going to go the opposite way, plot a point over there. But before we graph, I can't graph a line yet because this wasn't really an equal problem. It said less than or equal to, right? So since it's less than or equal to, I have to look at my steps, and it says if I'm going to draw a solid line if it includes an equal to. This one does, so I'm going to draw a solid line. Sometimes you're going to do a dashed line. Same thing as before, we put arrows at the end on each problem. And then the last thing I have to do is shade. So since it's less than, I want to shade underneath the graph. So I have to take my the side of my pencil and shade it. Okay, it's kind of hard to see in the class because it's light out. So you see how it's shaded underneath, and that's it. That's all you're doing today. And what does this mean? It means any point that's on the line or underneath the line would be a solution to that original problem. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, number 2. Number 2 in slope-intercept form? No, y needs to be by itself, and it's not. Like number 1, y is isolated on one side of the inequality. Here it's not. So what I need to do now is I need to make it so it's isolated. So 4x is not by is by the y, and so is this 3. So I'm gonna have to subtract 4x first from both sides because I want it to look like this. Okay, so we're gonna subtract 4x from both sides. Oh boy, got them. And when I do that, get 3y is less than negative 4x minus 3. Okay? That's the first thing. Is y by itself still? No, we have that 3. We need to divide both sides by 3 to isolate it. So y is going to be less than, let's see, what's negative 4 divided by 3? Well, it's negative 4/3 x. And then negative 3 divided by 3 is negative 1. Okay? Now it's in point or slope-intercept form, so my y-intercept's negative 1, so I'm going to plot a point here at negative 1. Okay? Slope is rise negative 4, so I'm going to fall negative 4. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 3, 1, 2, 3 to here. Plot a point. I know that my line's going to go this way, so I need to think of a point that's going to go the opposite way. So I have to go up 4 and over 3. Plot a point. This one says less than, so since it doesn't have equal to, I'm going to do a dashed line. So I'm going to do a dashed line like that. Put arrows at the end. And it says less than again, so I want to shade underneath the graph. So we're shading underneath, okay? And that's it. That's how we do numbers 1 and 2. So we're combining what we've learned with lines and now with the-inequalities. It's a little bit harder, but that's what we have to do today, okay? Questions on this? No. Okay, good. So let's have ones. Actually, let's start with twos. Twos are talking first today. Twos tell the ones about Number 1, how did I graph it and how did I shade it? Why is there a solid line? Why is it shaded here? And what until the 2 is about number 2. How did I get it from here to here? And then why did I put a dotted line and shade it? Okay, ready, set, go. Okay, so number 3. Number 3, pull out your iPads. Y is greater than negative 3 halves x plus 2. Okay. What's the y-intercept here?
2.
2, good. So we should all put a point here at 2. That's brawl starting. Okay, what's the slope here, everyone? Negative what? Good, negative 3 over 2. Good. So how much is it rising or falling? 3? 3 rising or falling?
All.
Good. So we're going to go down 3 and then running how many? 2. So we should have a point if we go down 3. Oh, sorry. Go down 3 and over 2. We should have a point here, right? Oh. And we should have another point there. We could draw a line. Sorry, I went too fast here. Okay. Dotted or solid line? Dotted or solid line? Dotted. How do you know it's dotted?
It doesn't have the equal to.
Good. It doesn't have the equal to sign, so we need to just draw a dotted line. What should I draw on the end of my line?
Arrows.
Arrows. Good. Okay, turn to your neighbor. Tell him which side you would shade, above or below. So it says y is greater than negative 3 halves x plus 2. So above or below? You should all be working on this right on your iPads. And that's it. That's number 3. So I want yours to look like mine. I'm going to check up on you in 30 seconds. Make sure yours looks like mine. I'm going to look at all your papers and iPads. Go. No, it's not by itself. So what do you have to do to get y by itself?
Subtract x from both sides.
Good. Subtract x from both sides. So you're going to... Oh, man. Subtract x from both sides. So you get y is greater than negative x minus 2. Or plus 2. Now I got a question for you on this one. Y is by itself. So what's your y-intercept?
0.
Did you guys forget it already? What's your y-intercept?
2.
2. Thank you. 0. What's the slope?
Negative 1.
Good. Negative 1. What's an imaginary number in front of 11 that's always there? 1. So in this case it's negative 1 because it has a negative sign in front of it. So you should have a little negative 1 there. Okay? Work this out by yourself. Oh yeah, by the way, how do you make negative 1 a fraction? Put it over.
1.
Okay, good. Go. Slope is negative 1 over 1, so it should have a line like that, and it's shaded above, right? Makes sense?
How come the dots keep going down? Because it's negative?
Yep. What kind of slope do we have? Positive or negative?
Negative.
Remember the first day of school? Positive linear. But what kind of slope is this one? Negative linear, so you see?
So when it's positive, those dots go up.
Yeah. You read it from left to right. So since it's negative, it's falling. Okay. Next one. Okay, is y by itself?
No.
No. What should I do first to get y by itself?
Subtract.
Subtract what?
X from both sides.
Okay, good. So we got negative 4y is greater than or equal to negative 3x. Okay, now I got a question for you. How do I get y by itself?
By 4. By both sides.
By-
Negative 4.
Okay, good. What happens when you divide by negative?
Becomes a
Becomes a
positive.
positive.
Okay, and then what happens to my inequality?
It flips.
It flips. Remember this rule? We have to take this this and we have to flip it, remember?
Yeah.
Oh man, what happened here? My bad. I pushed the wrong button here. Okay, so finish up my problem. Oh, by the way, is there a y-intercept up here? No, so what number represents no y-intercept? 0, good. So we're going to add plus 0 here. It doesn't change anything. Okay, go. Finish up this problem. Graph it for me. Go. So that's the problem I'm going to have you start. Go. How do we solve this first? on number 6. What do I want to do first? We're subtracting 6x from both sides, right? So now we have negative, or 1y is greater than, what's 4 divided by negative 6? I'm sorry, that's not 4 divided by negative 6. We got negative 6x plus 4. Okay, now we're going to divide both sides by what? Negative 1, right? When I do that, look what happens to my inequality. It becomes less than, right? Negative 6 divided by negative 1 is positive 6, and positive 4 divided by negative 4 is, or negative 1 is negative 4. So we're just going to plot our points. You should have points here and here. The graph looks like that, and should be shaded underneath. There you go. That's it. That's how you do numbers 1 and, or number 6, okay? Any questions on this? Raise your hand if you made a mistake. Okay. Anyone have questions on that? Okay, what I'd like you to do is, if you made a mistake, turn to your neighbor, explain how you made a mistake and what you're going to do next time to fix it. That concludes the lesson. So.